When you hear the phrase throne of God, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For a lot of us, it's probably this image of a massive physical chair up in the heavens somewhere. But what if it's something way more profound? Today, we're diving into the concept of the Arsh, an idea that really challenges our basic understanding of what divine power even is.
And right away, we run into this fascinating puzzle. I mean, if you believe God is a limitless being, not bound by physical space and present everywhere at once, then how can he also sit on a throne in one specific spot? It's a total contradiction, right? How do you fit an infinite being onto a finite object?
To even begin to answer that, we first have to kind of deconstruct that literal image of a throne that most of us probably have in our minds.
Our minds are just wired to picture something like this. You know, a throne is a symbol of a king, of authority, of physical power in our world. And that's a decent starting point. It's a useful analogy, but it starts to break down really fast when we try to apply it to the divine.
And here is where you can see just how incompatible these ideas are. A physical throne has to be made of something, and it has to be somewhere. It's finite, but God is understood to be the opposite. Immaterial, infinite, the very source of place and space, not contained by it. You just can't put a non-physical, unbounded reality onto a physical object. It doesn't compute.
So, okay, if it's not a physical thing, is it just a metaphor? You know, like we say someone sits on the throne of power. Well, according to the sources we're digging into, it's actually much more than that. It's pointing to a very specific and profound reality.
And this gets us to the core definition. The Arsh isn't treated as just a symbol. It's seen as a whole plane of existence. It's the ultimate command center, the central hub from which the entire universe is managed and governed. This quote really hones in on it. The key word here isn't sitting, it's governing. The Arsh is the operational framework, the very system that establishes divine order. So the focus shifts completely from a physical location to systemic control. All right, so what is this system of governance made of? What are its components? Well, the theological sources give us two primary, really deep interpretations. Let's dive into the first one. The first reality of the throne is knowledge. And we're not just talking about any kind of knowledge. This is something absolute, total, and all-encompassing.
Now this is a mind-bending idea. In this view, the Arsh isn't a place where God knows things. The Arsh is God's divine knowledge, or ilm. It's the plane of perfect, boundless awareness itself. It's the reality that holds the blueprint, the real-time data of everything that has ever existed, that exists now, and that will ever exist. This makes that connection crystal clear. To be established on the throne isn't a physical posture. It means to govern through this perfect, all-encompassing knowledge. The throne, in this sense, is absolute awareness itself. But that's not the whole story. There's another, parallel interpretation that's just as profound, and it connects the Arsh to another core divine attribute.
The second reality of the throne is life itself, the ultimate wellspring of all existence.
So this perspective says the Arsh is one and the same with God's absolute life, or Hayat. And we're not talking about biological life here, but the fundamental principle of existence, the force from which every single living thing, from a tiny microbe to an entire galaxy, gets its reality. So let's just walk through the logic here. It starts with the idea that God's life is absolute and needs nothing else to exist. From there, the life of every created thing is seen as a reflection or a grant from that one original source. The Arsh, then, is the plane where this foundational life force comes from and is managed. So in this view, it is quite literally the throne of life. Okay, so we've got the throne as knowledge and the throne as life. How do these two massive concepts actually fit together in the grand scheme of how creation is run? To really get this, we have to bring in another related concept, the Kursi, often translated as the footstool. Think of it like this. If the Arsh is the master blueprint and the central power station, the Kursi is the factory floor where all the plans get carried out. The Arsh is the ultimate source of the command, while the Kursi is the sphere where that command actually takes effect in our universe. So this gives us a really clear hierarchy, almost like a cosmic flowchart. It all begins with the divine essence, which is beyond our comprehension. Flowing from that, you have the Arsh, this plane of knowledge and life where the divine plan is born. That plan then gets executed within the realm of the Kursi, and it finally becomes manifest as the physical and spiritual order that we experience as creation.
So this is the main takeaway. The throne isn't a piece of furniture in the sky. It is the dynamic, all-encompassing operating system of the universe. It's the reality of God's perfect knowledge and the ultimate source of all life, and it's through this system that the entire cosmos is sustained and directed.
And that leaves us with a final thought to mull over. How does our own perspective on power, on authority, and maybe even on existence itself shift when we move beyond that simple image of a king on a chair and instead start to envision power as this perfect, all-encompassing system of knowledge and life?